Good evening. Back to Old Testament studies here on Sunday night. We're in chapter 10 of 2 Samuel, chapter 10. Chapter 9 showed us a little bit of the kindness that David had, even for Saul, who had chased him around, looked like half of his life as a fugitive. And when he died, for Jonathan, David's friend's sake, Saul's son, he said, "Is there anybody left of the house of Saul that I can show kindness to for Jonathan's sake?" And he found out Jonathan had a boy that he didn't know about, and the chapter's about how kind he was to Jonathan's boy Mephibosheth and his family. Took him right to his own table. Chapter 10 shows sort of a continuation of David's kindness. He was a great warrior, but he had a heart after God's own heart, God said. He is kind to people too, but sometimes kindness blows back up on you, and we're going to see this in this chapter tonight. It came to pass, chapter 10, verse 1, it came to pass after this that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead. So the Ammonite king died, and his son took over, so there's a change of the regime here. And David hears about it, and the Ammonites are up on his northern border of Israel up here, so he says, now, verse 2, then said David, "I'll show kindness to Hanun, the son of Nahash, as his father showed kindness unto me." It's believed that when David was a fugitive, just like he'd go into some of these other countries, and the Ammonites was one of them, and the Philistines was another, that they actually were kind to him, and he tried to repay that kindness later, now that he's in a position of king. So this boy Hanun just took over as the new king of the Ammonites, and David said, his daddy was always kind to me. I'm going to reach out to him, and I'm going to be kind to him, which is sort of a biblical principle, but I guess you have to say it's a general rule, not 100% every time, that you will reap what you sow. If you sow kindness, the tendency is that kindness will come back to you. If you sow meanness and corruption, then you're liable to get it back to you. So then said David, "I'll show kindness," that's verse 2, "to the son of Nahash, Hanun, and as his father showed kindness to me." And David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servants for his father. In other words, David sent an entourage of servants out to Hanun. And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. And the princes of the children of Ammon said to Hanun, their lord, "Thinkest thou that David doth honor your father, that he sent comforters unto thee?" Is that what you think? That's what David says. But they said, "Hath not David rather sent his servants unto thee to search the city, to spy it out, and to overthrow it? It's a crooked plot. He's going to fool you if you don't watch it." So David's kindness gets intercepted by those who are slandering and poison the king about David's kindness. It was what it actually seemed to be, but they were all saying it's not what it seems to be. Wherefore Hanun took David's servants, and he shaved off one half of their beards. He cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. So he sent them back home with half their beard shut off and their butt showing. It was an act of humiliation. It's what we think of you, David. They sent all these people away. So they sent somebody to tell David what happened before they got back home. Verse 5, when they told it to David, he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed or greatly embarrassed. And the king told them, said, "Stay at Jericho outside of Jerusalem. You tarry at Jericho till your beards be grown, and then return. You don't have to come back looking like that. Stay out there, camp out at Jericho for a while before you come back to town." And when the children of Ammon saw that they stank before David, metaphorically, they were a stench unto his nostrils now for what they've done. Because he has sown kindness, and in return, they've gave evil, haven't they? The children of Ammon sent, and they hired the Syrians. So they knew they've made David so mad now we're going to be in a war, so they hired a bunch of Syrian mercenaries of Beth Rehob, and the Syrians of Zobah, 20,000 footmen, and of the king of Maoch 1,000 men, and of Ishtab 12,000 men. I guess that's 33,000 troops they hired. And when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men They're going to go out and do war against them now. And the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array at the entering in of the gate. Lines are being drawn. And the Syrians of Zobah and Rehob and Ishtab and Maacah were by themselves in the field. They were all the Syrian troops over here, and the Ammonite troops were over here. And when Joab saw that the front of the battle was against him before and behind, he chose of all the choice men of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians. And the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai his brother, that he might put them in array against the children of Ammon. So the battle's going to be fought on two fronts here. And then he said to his brothers, the brothers getting together, leading each division here. Verse 11, he said, if the Syrians are too strong for me, then you come and help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for you, then I'll come and help you. That's our battle plan. And we wrestle not against flesh and blood, Christians, but you know what? Sometimes things seem a little overwhelming for us, so we need a little help in this world. And sometimes we see somebody else needing help, and we go and help them spiritually and comfort them and pray for them. If they need help, we'll help them. If we need help, they'll help us. So he tells him then in verse 12, tells his brother getting ready to go into battle here, it says, now be of good courage and let us play the men for our people. Let's be courageous and act like men for our country and our God, for the cities of our God, and let the Lord do what seems right unto him good. Let the Lord do what seems to him good. And Joab drew nigh, and the people that were with him, unto the battle against the Syrians, and they fled before him. So as he approaches the Syrians and the battle starts, the Syrians, they're just paid mercenaries anyway. Their heart ain't in it. They get their money, and they're running off. And when the children of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, they said, well, we've lost, 23,000 or 33,000 I added there in that verse a minute ago. They've all run off, so the other ones say, all them guys we hired have left. We're going to get slaughtered. So they fled also before Abishai, and they entered into the city. So Joab returned from the children of Ammon and came to Jerusalem. And when the Syrians saw that they were smitten before Israel, they gathered themselves together. And Hadarezer sent and brought out all the Syrians that were beyond the river, and they came to Helam, and Shobach, the captain of the host of Hadarezer, went before them. And when it was told David, he gathered all Israel together, and he passed over Jordan and came to Helam, and the Syrians set themselves in array against David and fought with him. And the Syrians fled before Israel. And David slew the men of 700 chariots of the Syrians and 40,000 horsemen, and smote or whooped Shobach, the captain of their host, who died there. And when all the kings that were servants to Hadarezer saw that they were smitten, they were whooped before Israel, they made peace with Israel. Now, there's a principle here too. United States of America, 4th of July week. In my opinion, the greatest nation that's ever been on the face of the earth. The United States' strength has been in our kindness. And as long as we're kind, there's never been any other nation kinder other nations than the United States has been. When we go to war with nations, when the war's over, we go in there and rebuild their cities for them. And I know there's a lot of stuff to say that's said bad against the United States of America, but I'm telling you, it's the greatest nation that there's ever been. We ain't perfect. We're human beings. But I hear this, all the time. You say, well, we treated the Indians terribly. We did, but we're still giving them a check. Their descendants a check. We're still being kind to them. But we're not perfect, but we're kind. But we also see the principle in here that there's peace through strength. David was kind to them, but when eventually they tried to fight against him, he had to go in there and slaughter a whole bunch of them. And then after the war was over with, then there was peace in the land, as this verse is going to tell us. And there's never good peace made through capitulation to other people, capitulating to people. Peace is made, like when you stand your ground. In this case, we'll stand our ground for God, and we're not going to compromise with God's word and with people that's against God's word. We're going to stand for it. But peace is made through strength, and that's been something the United States has practiced before too. When we're weak, we've got a chance of enemies attacking us. But when they know we're strong, we're strong, and that causes peace. When all the kings that were servants, verse 19, to Hadarezer saw that they were smitten before Israel, they made peace with Israel and served them. So the Syrians feared to help the children of Ammon anymore. By David going in there and showing that, hey, we're not going to take this, we'll be strong, we'll be kind when we can, but we'll be strong when we have to. We see what happened is that the northern border, David secured peace there for many, many years because the Ammonites and the Syrians, they didn't want to come down there anymore. So they made peace. See you next time.